Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
me, Rob. Let's get into some of the dirty news.
It's a lot of dirty news here. There's a lot of dirty deeds done extremely cheap when you don't pay.
Yeah. Fly, Eagle, fly.
Yeah, we also got the daughter of one of the most famous Giants of the last 30 years who are getting arrested as well with a felony charge. We got writers talking good about us, writers talking bad about us. And of course, today we're going to continue our series of breaking down the NFL draft classes from the Giants here and see what they did, where they went with their career, what are they up to now. And we're going to let you guys know up front, we did skip a year here. We're skipping 2013. That's going to be on a Wednesday. We were talking about potentially having a guest on tonight that was unable to make it. So we had to change gears a little bit. We already had recorded that for Wednesday because I'll be on a plane Wednesday off to Jersey. Jersey.
Oh, Jersey boy over here.
Some pork roll, egg, and cheese over here.
You finally get a good breakfast sandwich.
Listen, I told you there's a place in St. Pete right where I work, and it's actually a pork roll place. And there's one in Brick, or as we call it, Brick-tucky as well. So Taylor Sam's, they call it. So, so I got pork roll still here.
Sam's.
Yeah. See? They even make pork roll egg rolls.
Oh.
Yeah, see? Yeah.
They are currently closed, but they're off 88 in Brick.
Yeah, they make a Fat Cat sandwich even too. It's like on a whole hoagie at that point with eggs, cheese, bacon, pork roll, and hash browns all on the hoagie roll. And oh my God, is that good?
Oh my God.
Yeah, see?
I don't know what I'm doing.
Florida has good food too now. All right, let's get into the topic though before I get more hungry for pork roll. But I do have pork roll in my fridge because they do sell it here. Anyway, let's get into the draft class here because it's very sad in what's going through these draft classes. All these wasted opportunities and wasted picks, and not to foreshadow here what's going to happen in this one here, but 2012 was also not a very good year, guys.
No.
We start off round 1, pick 32. David Wilson out of Virginia Tech. Now, one thing you'll see is there was a lot of leapfrogging of Jerry Reese. Jerry Reese seemed to want to publicly announce who he was going to pick. He may not have put it out to Mel Kiper and ESPN at that point there, but he definitely made it pretty well known what he wanted to do. The pick before us, I remember this very well because I was livid because I knew what was going on the second it happened. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers moved up from the beginning of the second round where they had a pick to number 31 to go ahead and beat us out for Doug Martin, who I believe it was Boise State, I believe he was from, but he went out to be a 1,000-yard rusher for them, if I'm right, and all. Had a few years. Didn't have a great career, but had a little bit of a flash in the pan. So we ended up with David Wilson, who was kind of really our silver medal there. It's kind of the second guy we wanted. And we're so close to getting that guy we did want it. And then, we go ahead and get David Wilson, and he looks like he's got some promise to him there overall. He's in 2012, his rookie year, he set the Giants record for all-purpose yards in a game. Everybody remembers that Saints game. 327 yards altogether in the 52-27 win over the Saints. When's the last time we scored 50 points, by the way? That might be the last time. It feels
could have been the last time.
It could have been the last time.
12 years ago.
He returned 4 kicks in that game for 227 yards, including a 97-yard touchdown. He also ran 13 times for 100 yards and had 2 touchdowns. He's the first player in NFL history to have 200 kickoff returns yards and 100 rushing yards in a game. He's the second player since 1970 with a kickoff return touchdown and 2 rushing touchdowns in a single game. So, I mean, it was a historic game. Like, it just seemed like every time he touched the ball, he was going to do something special. And like I said, he ran the ball 13 times. That's it. He returned 4 kicks. That's it. So he touched the ball 17 times in the game, guys, for 327 yards.
And Drew, you're 100% right. That was the last time we put up 50 points on the board.
Damn, that's sad that I thought that off the bat and was right. Oh, my gosh. That year, he led the NFL in kickoff return yards and was named second-team All-Pro and was named also to the PFWA All-Rookie team as well as their kick returner. So, yeah, a very impressive rookie year. You saw a lot of promise. You saw a guy who was extremely athletic, had that breakaway speed that can just take it to the house whenever he wanted. We were all excited about him. I mean, it's, this is really like exciting rookie year. And then week 5 of 2013, he suffered a spinal stenosis, and it was advised he had an increased risk of neck injury if he ever played again. Not a good sign. Had neck surgery January 2014 and was ruled out for the entire year. He was then advised to never play football again because of recurring neck injuries and retired August 6th, 2014. Sad. Giants career. I'm not going to give you just his rushing numbers. With kickoff returns, we already know he was very good at that. Rushing wise, 21 games, 6 starts, 115 carries for 504 yards, 5 touchdowns, 4.4 yards per carry average, 6 receptions for 42 yards and a touchdown. So never really had a crazy good year. You just saw that potential the rookie year, and then just, the worst case scenario basically is what happened.
Pretty much.
After he retired, he did take up track and field again, which he excelled at both high school and college. He trained as a triple jumper, which if you don't know what it is, you can Google it. I was thought about trying to get a video there, but I couldn't find a good one of him doing it. It's kind of like a long jump, but it's like you take a couple of tiny jumps before you take the big jump, if that makes sense. Kind of like a little bunny hop before a long jump.
Get into momentum. Boink.
Bunny hop, 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 hop. But he finished 9th at the 2015 Adidas Grand Prix for the triple jump. He also had a tryout with the Baltimore Orioles instructional league team in 2007, but was not signed. So, athletic is all hell. Like I said, you saw it when he was on the football field. This guy was athletic even compared to NFL players. Like he excelled at that 100% speed, agility, all that stuff. He had it. He even had strength to break some tackles at that point. But then to go on to be, again, I know it's like track and field, like, oh, track and field. It's not like anybody actually watches the sport, but I get it.
It's not as glamorous as football or even baseball.
Yeah, I understand. Like the stands are full of people's parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles, maybe girlfriends,
godparents,
neighbors, coworkers. I feel obligated, but still, I mean, he still was one of the top 10 at a competition that had the best of the best in this country. I mean, that's still impressive. And then to get a tryout with a Major League Baseball organization. That's impressive. Like all this stuff is very, very impressive. Seriously. He did also attempt a career in music. Now, I will say this. This is the man that Darren Waller needs to talk about because I did say he did attempt. He stopped. Darren Waller, meet David Wilson. David Wilson, meet Darren Waller. Just saying, this might be a really beneficial friendship for the music community as a whole.
David Wilson, they got the same initials, man.
Yeah, see, there we go. Why didn't pick that up? Ooh, good catch.
Together.
It's about the DW there, not just a shoe warehouse. So he now lives in the Atlanta area, and he has 3 children there. So, and the crazy thing is, you look at these guys and you think, oh my god, it was so long ago they played. These guys are still like mid to late 30s.
I was about to say they're
still younger than I am. They're like your age, Rob.
Spat.
Yeah.
Figured, what is he? Coming out of college, 2012, 20, 21?
Yeah.
So he's 32, if you put it that way. Right?
That's No, I think your math's off. I think he's a little older than that, but
Well, I'm just saying, if he comes out of draft in 2012, 12 years.
he's 33 actually. Okay, you weren't far off. 33. So yeah, he's almost 10 years younger than me. And it seems like so long ago we played. I feel so old. I feel so
too busy
old.
doing the Bundy.
Yeah. Polkai. All right. Let's get into our next guy here. And this is a guy that on paper looked very good. On the field, he did not. Let's call it what
it's fair.
Is.
That's fair.
That's exactly right. He also, I believe, had a sandwich named after him as well. And that's Reuben Randle. No, the sandwich was not named after him.
He was named after the sandwich.
I feel like if I don't say things like that after I make a joke like that, someone's going to put up a thing like, well, actually, the Reuben sandwich was developed in New York City back in blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
like,
1947.
The whole history of the Reuben sandwich. Reuben Randle.
Randle.
He played 4 seasons with the Giants there overall. He had 938 yards receiving in 2014. He had 8 touchdowns in 2015. So like I said, he put some numbers up, guys. He definitely did. But he had his issues too. He was benched twice in 2014 for being late to meetings. Now keep in mind, again, 2014, he still had Tom Coughlin. What was Tom Coughlin known for? Coughlin time. If you weren't 5 minutes early, you were late. And yeah, he was definitely not 5 minutes early. Quite often, it seems.
Would be benched all the time.
Yeah. He was targeted very often, including 127 targets in 2015. But his output on those targets were just very low. So he was good at getting open. It was just didn't do much afterwards, basically. One of those kind of scenarios. Even with the issues the Giants had at wide receiver at that point, they let him go after that rookie year was over there. So rookie deal was over, I should say. Again, you got a guy that you look back at 2016 is when we got, was last season at that point, 12, 13, 14, 15. Actually, no, 15 was last year. So you look at what we had at wide receiver at that point. We had no one. Like, it was bad back then, guys. Like, we had OBJ and, we'd had no depth with that. It was not a stellar, Giants group at that point there. And they were like, you know what? Here's a guy who did 900 yards 2 years ago. Let's just let him go.
Yeah.
That tells you a lot about who he was as a person. It really does. I mean, here's what they had besides him on the roster, just to give you an idea what I mean by this. You got OBJ, you got Victor Cruz. Like, that goes without saying, two of the best Giant receivers ever. But you got those two. After that, with Reuben Randle, Corey Washington, Kevin Ogletree, Preston Parker.
Ogletree, I haven't heard that name forever.
Seriously, like, these are the names that they had.
Yeah.
Like, Reuben Randle was just let go with that kind of room with the wide receivers, guys. Like that tells you a lot about what the Giants thought of him. It really does. His career numbers overall with the Giants, which is his career numbers overall in the NFL, spoiler alert, 64 games, 33 starts, 188 catches, 2,644 yards, and 20 touchdowns. He also was a punt returner for the first 2 years in the league as well. After the Giants let him go at that point there and just let him walk, he kind of sat around for a little while. Eventually, the Eagles picked him up, signed a 1-year deal with them in 2016 for $3 million. But he was cut just 5 months later before the season even started. While at the Eagles camp, he was asked why the Giants let him go, and he said, miscommunication as to what was going on. I guess they didn't like some things, my demeanor and things like that. I was just judged wrong and read wrong. I got to be better about it, learn from mistakes in the past, and try to move forward here. He went on to say his demeanor was laid back, and he believed that was the issue. that they were just misreading him as laid back as opposed to excited, and it's just a personality issue. I'm not sure how being late to team meetings and not looking,
well, you're laid back. You're just
that is laid back.
It's cool.
Laid back about punctuality, apparently, too. And
Yeah.
all. I mean, that's what you heard back then. Is this was a guy that just didn't seem. He kind of seemed to be going through the motions a little bit there. Kind of seemed to be happy and okay with where he was at, as opposed to trying to further succeed. And you can't sit there and say that he succeeded as a second-round pick when he retires by 2,600 yards. You can't.
No.
Granted, he also didn't want to retire. He didn't want to retire.
Yeah.
After the Eagles debacle there the next year, he went to camp with the Bears, but was cut after a hamstring injury. Landed him on the IR before the season started. Then he was signed on by the Winnipeg Bombers of the CFL in 2018, but was released a few weeks later. And that was the last we ever heard of him. He did pop into the news briefly in 2022 to bash the Giant fan base randomly. He doesn't even post a lot on Twitter and all, but randomly put, it's funny how there's still some Giant fans, not all, that still try to bash me about my time there. But I just laugh now because they clearly can't be true fans, because if they were, they would have known that they haven't had a top 10 offense since who left. Now, he was obviously insinuating himself. Let's be honest and say we really haven't had a top 10 offense since Eli stopped being Eli.
Pretty much.
That's the honest truth. If Reuben Randle honestly thinks that Reuben Randle is what made that offense go around.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely insanity. I mean,
he also was saying that since he left, saying that he was part of that team, but he wasn't the necessarily driving force. But even still, say, put you in that conversation, hey, I was part of the team. Were you really?
Yeah.
Were you really? You were there.
Then he was there. But when he was there, he started off the height of Cruz mania when Victor Cruz was really, really good before we got OBJ. Keep in mind, when he was there, his last year he was there, Victor Cruz had to sit out the whole season. He had 300 yards the year before in 6 games. He wasn't even really that Victor Cruz anymore. And he still couldn't do anything special. And you heard the list of who else was on the roster in 2015. It was a who's who of who. Who's who. You're like, who? What? Preston Parker? Yeah. I've had a blast in the past name I haven't thought about in many, many years. But that's what he had dealing with there. So it wasn't that Reuben Randle was that good. It was that there was nobody else. And he was okay. Like I said, he was good at getting open. So Eli ended up having to throw him the ball pretty often. Doesn't mean that Eli liked working with him. It didn't mean Eli wanted to throw the ball to him. Don't get me wrong. Eli will never trash talk him. I never once heard Eli trash talk a former teammate. I don't think he ever would.
No.
I don't think that if Eli went to the Maras, went to Jerry Reese, was like, listen, I really like working with Reuben Randle. We really need to re-sign him. There's not a doubt in my mind the Giants would have re-signed him so quickly, it's not even funny.
You're not wrong.
So, especially when
the idea of that
$3 million deal that he signed. Wasn't like he signed a mega deal. It wasn't like Justin Pugh when he left the Giants and signed almost $10 million a year, and that was unheard of for an offensive lineman back then. $3 million is nothing. Not in the NFL world.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it wasn't like he got a lot of guaranteed money. The Eagles cut him. They wouldn't have cut him if they gave him all that guaranteed.
No.
So, this is a tale of somebody who was at the right place at the right time and looked a lot better than he actually was because of his surroundings. Kind of hate to be. It sounds mean. That really does the way I'm wording it, but it's the truth. It's the blunt truth about it.
But everyone knows back in the day when you had to do a group project in school and you had 3 hard workers and someone that just loafed off. And they looked way better when they got that A on that paper when they did jack and crap.
Yeah.
For the report that you had to type up, or whatever case may be.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Here's looking at me in biology class. Let's go.
All right. Let's get into another draft pick that, to be very frank, really didn't do much at all. Jayron Hosley, pick number 94 in the 3rd round out of Virginia Tech there. He played 4 seasons with the Giants, mostly at the right side corner position. He had a series of minor injuries and a bad concussion hamper him the first 2 years of his career. He was suspended in 2014 4 games for violating the NFL policy and program for substance abuse. So, not a lot of good, a lot of negative. Injuries, suspensions, that kind of that's not good. So,
Not at all.
He did his 4 years. It's almost like a jail sentence getting drafted by the Giants. He served his time. Some people, like the guy we're going to talk about next, is get released early for good behavior or bad behavior in their
I was going to say.
But, it's like, I did my 4 years. I'm done. Like, that's what it was like with the Giants for a little while. Like, that's what it was. You finish your rookie deal, and then you were probably done playing football, basically. For his career, 43 games, 15 starts, 90 tackles, 2 interceptions, 13 passes deflected, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, and 2 tackles for loss. And there is not a single bit of information, guys, on what he's up to since his playing days are over. And he's got like a name that you would think like you could search it and find it. Like, it's not like his name is
You
Bob
think so?
Smith. Like, there's not a lot of Jayron Hosleys out there. That's for sure. But yeah, nothing I was
Bob Barker over here
wise on him there. So, if anybody's got any info, I always invite people, by all means, especially in the comment section there, go ahead and put up if you know something about where he's at that point there. So we are curious. We definitely took the time to try to find it, but some people just kind of fade out when that time comes. At that point, they're done playing. So he definitely was one of those guys.
He moved to Montana, opened up his own cattle ranch. It's been hurting ever since.
That's unheard of.
Yeah. And that's why you don't hear of him.
Now people actually think that he went to Montana and started a cattle ranch because you. Breaking news. All right. Well, let's get to somebody who wasn't so quiet when his Giants days were over. And this was the guy who was deemed the JPP of tight ends, when perhaps what was Jerry Reese's worst comment he ever gave to the media in his entire time with the New York Giants. And that's Adrien Robinson, tight end out of Cincinnati, round 4, pick 127. He had just 29 catches, guys, in all 4 years of college. Let's let that sink in for a second. Not per season, not in one season, not for last 2 years. His entire 4 years in college, he had 29 catches, guys. That math is not difficult. That's 7 1/4 catches per year.
Yeah. Some great scouting done.
Yeah. So he basically won gold medal in the underwear Olympics and impressed a lot of people. That's what the truth of the matter is. That's what happened. Like, he killed it at the combine. He killed it at his private workouts. And people looked at it as this guy that basically got wasted at Cincinnati. Like, they didn't know how to train him, basically. And it seems like he fooled people, because by everything you hear, he wasn't a hard worker. He wasn't the guy who did all these crazy things at that point there. He just was the guy that kind of slid by. And sometimes you get guys that had that kind of mentality, and when it comes time to impress the scouts, all of a sudden they gain a little motivation for a little bit. And again, I don't pretend to know these guys personally, but Adrien Robinson seems to be one of those guys. Because whatever special they saw in those workouts, it went away the second he got drafted. Like, it was pretty early on, you knew that this guy was not anything special. He spent 3 seasons overall with the Giants, barely saw the field at all in his first 2 years. Like I remember when he would go on the field, like, oh, there's the JPP of tight ends. Like it became this big thing because people complained when JPP got drafted by the Giants. For those who happen to forget, we'll get to his draft class eventually, but people were complaining when they drafted JPP because JPP was putting out workouts of him like jumping over cars and stuff like that on YouTube and stuff like that. Like he was probably the first draft prospect to get notoriety on social media for posting videos doing crazy workouts. That's what he was. You know, that guy who started that trend basically. And
Pretty much.
a lot of Giants fans didn't like it. They wanted to see more college production. You know, they got a guy instead from a small school. USF is not a big school. Been to that campus many times, not too far from where I live. And they weren't really impressed by the pick. And obviously he came out, he did amazing things. And once he did that, that became like Jerry Reese was kind of like, that was kind of more like a stab at the fans and the media going, yeah, this is the JPP of tight ends. Like, shut up. I was right last time. I'm right again. That's basically what he was saying. And he was entirely wrong. For his career, 19 games, 1 start, 5 catches, 50 yards, 1 touchdown. That's pitiful. After the Giants were done there, he went on to sign a reserve futures contract with the Jets in January of 2016, but was cut just 4 months later in May of 2016. Then the next year he made the news big time, and not for the reasons you want to make the news. 2017, he was stopped by the Pennsylvania State Police along I-80 in Union County, and they found a number of large bags of marijuana in the car. In total, it was over 25 pounds.
It's a lot of weed.
That's a lot of weed, guys. Like that's yeah. Ooh. Like think about it this way. Okay, you don't have. I'm not going to say go out and waste some marijuana, but think about how light a leaf is. You can know how you picked up a leaf at some point from some kind of plant in your life. That's what marijuana is. It's a leaf.
Yeah. And if you're selling ounces, they're like bricks. They're big.
Yeah.
That's 4,000. I'm sorry. That's 400 ounces.
Yeah.
He built a wall in his trunk of weed.
And Mexico did not pay for it.
No.
He may have paid someone in Mexico for it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
I'm gonna build you one, man.
Like that's insane. How much marijuana that was? Like that's like ridiculous. That's like someone's getting a promotion for this traffic stop kind of amount. Like
yeah,
like you've just stopped marijuana from getting to this entire town, basically. Like that's a ton of pot. That's insane, guys. So yeah, he was charged with manufacture, delivery, or possession with intent to manufacture or deliver a controlled substance and possession of drug paraphernalia. Now, I did a lot of more research than I wanted to on this, guys, because let's be honest, he wasn't a good player. He wasn't liked by fans. But I was so curious. What happened? Did he get sentenced? Did he get convicted? I couldn't find a goddamn thing on it. Not a single article on if he got sentenced, convicted, whatever. What if he got let go? He was found innocent. Like I found nothing. I gotta say, I find it hard to believe you're innocent with 25 pounds of marijuana in your car.
What are you talking about? There's no intent to sell. You only got 400 ounces.
The only time I'm intent is when I go camping.
Yeah.
But it's like that just boggles me. Like I would have thought that'd be a big thing when he gets like 25 pounds.
It's a ridiculous amount of weed.
That's like stocking Woodstock by yourself.
Like times 2.
It's insane. Oh my gosh. Anyway, he ended up playing for the Memphis Express of the Alliance of American Football in 2019, which just shows you how desperate they were for players in that. But then he was drafted in the 10th round of the XFL draft by the DC Defenders, but was waived before their final cuts. And that is the last bit of news that I was able to find on Adrien Robinson there. I did not find a single thing as what he's up to in the last 4 years. Again, for all I know, he's in jail. I mean, that's a lot to find in a car. Like, I don't know. I have no clue, guys.
I mean, weed's also legal now, so he's good.
It is, but it wasn't when he found the 25 pounds in there.
No.
So, yeah, he could be for all I know. So, hopefully not for his sake, but hopefully kind of so, because you were dumb enough to carry 25 pounds of marijuana in your car. That does not take an intelligent person to make that decision,
especially over state lines.
Yeah. That's crazy. Like you got an NFL contract. You should have enough money to at least start a legit business, not that kind of business.
Or pay someone to do it for you.
Yeah, seriously. That's true. Like Travis Henry, remember him back then? Didn't he get caught with a ton of drugs in his car too?
I think so.
I want to say he was the former running back of the Bills and Broncos. I want to say he played for.
Yes.
So I think he did it when I was still playing, if I'm right. It's like, what are you doing, dude? Oh my god.
Yeah. Do you remember the story when the first Expendables came out and Sylvester Stallone at the time was 68 years old, and they shot it in Australia? They caught him with 77 vials of HGH in his trunk.
You know he's taking that stuff left. He's popping that stuff down like TikTok.
Of course. Yeah. He's like Popeye. Maybe shoot this movie scene right here.
But you don't hear any issues of roid rage with him and stuff like that.
Well, HGH is different from roids, but
no, what I'm saying, you don't hear anything about him doing anything crazy or adversely affecting other people. Listen, if he takes it and affects just him and that's it.
Yeah, my point is, well, he's probably a grandfather as well, but
probably a great grandfather.
He's made enough money where he could pay someone to do it for him.
Oh yes.
Why are you driving it?
He's on Indeed looking for a drug mule. Not
boy, mate.
Mule.
Yeah.
Speaking Australian preferred. All right, let's get into our next one here. Our next stellar pick there. Whoa, this is quite the draft, guys. Quite the draft. We got Brandon Mosley. Tackle out of Auburn, taken in the 4th round, pick number 131. And you may be looking at the picture if you're watching the video going, that's the best picture you can find. Yes, it was the best picture I can find because that's how bad his career was. Originally started playing at Coffeyville Community College as a defensive end and tight end, was converted to a tackle at Auburn where he started at right tackle for 2 seasons. He played just 2 seasons with the Giants and saw the field in 22 games with 1 start. He was with the team for camp of 2015, but was designated as a waived injured by the Giants at final cuts. He was not picked up, spent the year on IR, and then his career was over. Never to be seen or heard from again, because I could not find a damn thing on him either. Some of these guys this year are just disappearing into thin air, basically. And I say that very lightly for an offensive lineman.
Big boy. Be down with the wins.
He was. I mean, that's. I mean, you got a guy who doesn't even make it through his rookie deal as a 4th round pick. That's a bad pick, guys. You did not do well.
No,
not at all. So, all right, we got a couple more picks here to go over. We got 2 more picks, and they don't get better.
Yeah.
And next up is the guy who actually, I'll take it back. This guy's not a bad pickup for where he got drafted. He just didn't play long for us. Matt McCants.
Yes, sir.
Tackle out of Alabama, Birmingham, UAB. Round 6, pick 201. And you can see the uniform there in the left. This is pre them having the big fake dragon thing. It's the small on the helmet there, but not as prominent as this nowadays. One of the more fun logos for me for some reason in college football. I want to see another team that's like the Knights fighting them. The Knights, the Dragons. It's like
Scarlet Knights.
It's like a football renaissance fair. I want like servants like medieval times to give us beer and meat in the stands and
with no utensils.
The halftime show is spectacular jousting. It'd be great. Anyway, McCann spent his rookie year on the Giants practice squad. He was then part of the final cuts in 2013. Now think about this for a second before I get further into this. Think about all the players we've had that we've drafted in the offensive line. all the issues we had with getting decent offensive linemen in there. I want that to marinate in your brain for a second where I start going over the story. So you can go, maybe we weren't the best at evaluating or producing talents.
Yeah.
So he's then picked up by the Raiders, where he played 26 games for them, had 3 starts in 3 seasons. 2016, he plays 2 more games with the Raiders before being cut in November. The Browns then pick him up, and he was then cut by them 11 days later before even playing in a game with them. The Bears then pick him up in December. He plays 2 games for them. So he ends up on 3 teams in 1 season there. 2017, he signs with the Browns again, suffers an ankle injury in their second preseason game to end up on the IR. 2018, he signs with the Bears, who cut him before the season started. That's the end of his NFL career. But you got a guy who, again, the average lifespan of an NFL player is 3 years, guys. This is a guy who made it 2012 up into 2018 in the league. That's 7 seasons for those who have trouble with the math.
Yeah.
Double checking me. So more than twice as long. And the Giants drafted him, had him cheap on a 4-year deal, and let him go before he even touched the field for the Giants. This is what I'm saying when I say the Giants have issues. Not just drafting offensive linemen, because they've done I won't say a great job drafting, but they did a high volume job of drafting offensive line. Like they've drafted a ton of offense. They've never been able to produce them into being quality players. This has been an issue now for 10, 15 years. You know, they got that big group going that we had the 2 Super Bowls with, and then they just were never able to fill in the gaps that those guys left.
But they never replaced them.
No. So, but this, like I said, for a guy to come with a 6th-round pick and to have a 7-year career, that's a win. And that in this draft, that's one of the biggest wins there are. But unfortunately, it's not a win for us because we never had him on the field before we cut him. So, you know, you can't like beat your chest for this. Go, yes, we did this.
Yeah. I drafted this guy.
I drafted this guy, then released him into the wild. That's what basically we did. Like, you know, like we've now given you a year on the practice squad to get better, and now you're freedom. Go elsewhere and do great things,
like the Browns,
yes,
and
the Raiders, the Bears. Maybe not the best teams, but still, again, a 7-year, career is good. And he wasn't really done then. A 7-year NFL career. He was drafted by the St. Louis Battlehawks at the XFL in 2020. The league did suspend their operations, though, 5 months later, so that didn't work out too well for him. He then turned out to be a coach. Decided to go that route. So in 21, he coached during the spring season at Fairfield High School. Then he joined in the summer the UAB staff as a volunteer coach. 2022, he was the strength and conditioning coach who focused on the offensive line over at UAB. In December 22, he was named UAB's Director of Character Development under head coach Trent Dilfer. Everybody knows Trent Dilfer.
Yeah.
That's the reputation of being the worst quarterback to ever get a Super Bowl. It's true.
He knows how to win.
It's the truth.
No matter how he gets it, he knows how to win.
So yeah, but McCants still remains on University of Alabama Birmingham staff currently. Their website lists him as their Assistant Director of Athletic Performance. And obviously he works there. So where does he live? The Birmingham area. Crazy. And he's married with a son. So, you know, it's nice to see him though go back to his alma mater, make good there, and you know, extend his career as a coach now at that point once his playing days were over. So, but again, this is a guy who could have been a win for us, but because he went elsewhere, he ain't. But he should have been.
Yeah.
Should have been if we were able to evaluate and develop talent. So, all right, guys, we got one more pick. Now, this draft class is not looking so good. So you're probably thinking to yourself, please tell me it's a good pick. Please tell me. And it's not a bad pick for where it's at. It's really not for where it's at. But it's not going to save this draft.
No.
Round 7, pick 239, Marcus Kuhn, defensive tackle, North Carolina State. And what he's probably best known for is the international part of it there, because he was born and raised in Germany and only learned about football while on vacation to see family in Florida. He played linebacker and defensive tackle for the Weinheim Longhorns, where he was named Rookie of the Year and was a 4-time German Football League All-Star. He was known to have a very good relationship and friendship there with Michael Strahan. His rookie year, 2013, he was had an ACL injury at that point there, another knee issue. Who would have thought? Knee issue for a New York Giant. Never. It's crazy talk. 2014, he ended up returning a fumble for a touchdown against the Titans and became the first German national to score a touchdown in the NFL. So for people who are football fans in the Deutschland, he's still pretty well known. His 2015 season ended with another trip to the IR from a knee injury, this time late in the season. And that was the end of his Giants career, just a ton of injuries. Like, you saw some promise, and if he was able to stay healthy, he would have had a career with us potentially as a backup defensive tackle there. Just could never stay healthy. Giants' career was 39 games, 11 starts, 48 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks, 4 QB hits, 2 fumble returns, 1, as I mentioned before, for a touchdown. He signed with the Patriots in 2016, but did not make their final cuts. So, yeah, not a very long career, because then he announced his retirement in 2017. Now, this is a guy who did not stay under the radar when his playing days were over, guys. He is now the director and international sports consultant for Laris, which was founded by Nelson Mandela. Their website lists their mission as to improve the lives of youth and unite communities through the power of sport. Now, I'll be very honest with you guys. You go on their website, it's a little difficult to see exactly how they improve the lives of youth and how they unite communities through the power of sport. It's mostly like giving those kind of mission statements and showing pictures of kids kicking a soccer ball.
Yay!
I mean, Nelson Mandela is pretty, I think, widely respected for his legacy, so I have to imagine they probably do good work. It's just wasn't obvious exactly at that point. I didn't spend half an hour looking through the thing on a 7th round pick we had 12 years ago.
Fair enough.
At least I'm honest. He's also a very high-profile key figure in the NFL's broadcasting of its regular season games in Germany as well. So, again, he's still pretty well known in the football world over there in Germany. Let's be honest, they haven't had a lot of German people come over to the U.S. and play football. That's not a typical thing.
Yeah.
They're playing soccer there. I assume soccer. I don't know. They're playing soccer.
And football.
Yeah. They're playing beer pong. I just assume that. While wearing later.
They do with the paddleboard.
They do something else with the paddleboard. It's a whole different game there.
I didn't say handle first.
There's nothing hammer.
I've been pooping pancakes ever since.
And for the record, I'm German, guys. It's okay. We're allowed to make fun of German people. That's the advantage of being a mutt. I can do that all I want. All right, let's get into the NFL draft from 2012 as a whole there and kind of grade where we're at there, because it's not good, guys. It's not very good. You know, this draft is literally as bad as it gets. David Wilson could have been a good player in the league, but probably would never have been elite. Let's be honest here. Again, he was a year plus in the league and had 500 yards. It's not like he lit the league on fire at that point. You can't say that. You know, didn't even make the all rookie team as a running back. He made it as a kick returner. Again, he would have had a good career. I think that. I really do think he would have been a guy who would have developed into like a perfect second running back in this league at that point. You know, especially if you had a guy like Brandon Jacobs with him, you know, like that kind of bruiser, like that would have been a perfect combo. But we'll never know now. We'll never know. The neck injury made the pick a bad return on investment. You did not get your ROI on that. Not Jerry Reese's fault. There's plenty of things you can blame Jerry Reese on. That was not it. So
blame him for a lot.
Now, Reuben Randle may have been the best pick in the draft. That's kind of scary because the Giants did not even offer him a second deal, when it was pretty obvious they needed him. because they had no receivers and they still wanted nothing to do with them. And after that, it's basically 5 guys who didn't pan out. Matt McCants, again, he had a decent career considering where he was drafted, but he never even stepped on the field for the Giants. I can't call that a win. This is the kind of draft that gets GMs fired.
Wait.
Well, that didn't happen yet. He still had a couple of years. But it's the classic example again. And we're going to probably have this a recurring theme where I'll mention this, but Eli Manning, the second half of his career, wasted. This is another classic example of where we didn't get anything out of our draft. Who would have thought? You don't get things out of your draft and the team goes to poop.
Yeah, who'd have thunk?
Who would have thought it? It's just crazy talk there. So, all right, let's get into the Giants news there. Before we do that, we're going to go ahead and pay the bills.
There you go.
Enjoying the show? Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. Buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.
All righty, let's get into some Giants news.
It's time for the news.
Oh, yeah, we got some Giants news here. We got a lot of news I should go over with you guys here tonight. All right, first up, Giants assistant GM Brandon Brown is to attend the Ozzie Newsome General Manager Forum there. It's put on with a partnership between the NFL and the Black College Hall of Fame. It's being held from June 17th today and June 9th, 18th tomorrow there. So we're announcing it right in the smack of it there. I didn't even announce it. I looked up on the announcement of this whole thing, and they even announced like where it's going to be and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a hush hush invite only kind of thing at that point. So, so basically what it does though is it focuses on helping young executives grow and develop their careers. Brandon Brown is going to be one of 10 panelists there at the forum. So that's pretty impressive for him. And again, I know it's a general manager forum, but he's an assistant GM. He's got a lot of experience in this league overall. Let's be honest, he's going to be a GM soon. I'm kind of shocked he hasn't been pucked yet, to be honest with you. He's got a very good reputation around this league. So, you know, kudos to him to be involved with something like that. Anytime your name is next to Ozzie Newsome's name, you're doing something right.
100%.
That man, Hall of Famer career as a player, he should go in again at the GM. I don't know if they got to like, you know, double placard him or what the deal is and put a second older now, but like this man was everything to the Cleveland Browns / Baltimore Raven, you know, franchise. Because keep in mind, he was a holdover. He went from Cleveland to Baltimore as part of this. So, you know, again, kudos Brandon Brown, and you know, like I said, I wouldn't be shocked at all if this is the last year we have him on the Giants. We got some more news here. Tommy DeVito. Oh, yes.
For the stars.
Thing. If you're listening on the audio, make sure you're doing the hand gesture the entire time we're talking about.
Need some of that sauce.
I'm kidding. Tommy DeVito and also his agent, Sean Stiletto, guest starred on the Yes Network's Home Plate, which I got to be honest with you guys, I don't have cable. I don't watch anything, you know, as far as cable TV anymore. I haven't watched it in many years. It seems like it's a show where they pay people around New York and eat. That sounds like my kind of activity, not my kind of show. Sorry, eating is not a spectator sport. How the Food Network has done it for so long is because they make entertaining games out of it. They don't just have kids sitting there at a plate of food.
I mean, have you seen the Nathan's hot dog eating contest?
Neither has Joey Chestnut this year.
Nope.
Nope.
He's going to be doing it possibly.
He's done. Anyway, on the episode also was celebrity chef Marcus Samuelson. So they had him there with as well, who actually my wife used to work for when she first got into college briefly. So the three of them go and visit Patsy's. It's a family-owned Italian restaurant originally made famous by old Blue Eyes himself, Frankie Sinatra. In the episode, they meet Pasquale Patsy. I'm going to probably mispronounce his name and lose my Italian card. Again, I'm almost every nationality, so it's okay. Scognamillo, I'm guessing, is how you pronounce it. I can just say with Italian accent, maybe it'll sound better. I don't know. Probably not.
Cagamillo.
I can't. I'm not even. Anyway, Patsy is the founder's grandson and just the third chef of the restaurant in its 80-year history. That's pretty damn impressive, right there.
Yeah.
You're talking, a good 27 years per person, basically. That's pretty impressive. Patsy that shows them around the place and talks about the restaurant's history with them. So, I think the most impressive thing about this is the fact that Tommy DeVito is still somewhat relevant. I'm not trying to be like a jerk about it, but again, like this is a third string quarterback that might not have made the roster.
He's got to get what he can. Can't be mad.
I'm not mad about it. I'm just confused by it. That's a general confusion.
He sells the sauce.
I'm just saying. Good for him. And you know what? People can mock Sean Stellato all they want for the way he dresses, the way he, appears. He's getting his boys some money.
That means he's getting himself some money.
Exactly. That's his job. So, kudos to all those guys there. We also recently had the UFL championship game there recently. The Birmingham Stallions won the UFL championship by shutting out the San Antonio Brahmas 25-0. And in the process, 4 ex-Giants are now UFL champions. So it's the closest we've had to a championship. New York Giants is 2011, so we're going for it.
Yay!
That's where we're at, guys. That's where we're at. So let's just go for it.
All hail the New York Giants!
There we go. But yeah, so we got the 4 guys that were there as part of this. You had cornerback Madre Harper, who was with the Giants back in 20 and 21. Had 9 games with us and 5 tackles. He was signed off the Raiders practice squad in 2020, went on IR 2 months later, was in camp in 21, but was cut before the season started. Wide receiver Benjamin Victor. And I remember him very well. A lot of Giants fans were like all hyped about him when we signed him as an undrafted rookie free agent out of Ohio State there. He was on the practice squad back in 2020, never on a game. Former assistant special teams coach Anthony Blevins, who, if I remember correctly, went to the XFL originally to be a head coach. So that's where he's ended up landed past that at that point. Also, former Giants offensive line coach Dave Dugugliama. I'm always mispronounce his name wrong. I'm sorry. I'm like the worst Italian ever. Like anything like, and maybe he's not even Italian. I assume if it ends in a vowel, it's probably the Italian name. But it's like I'm like. So, and it's funny because I did my DNA test. I'm over like 20% Italian, which is like the weirdest thing ever because I don't look it at all. But I really don't. I admit freely. But yeah, I have so much trouble for some reason pronouncing Italian names like that. Anyway, he was with the O-line coach there, 04 to 08, came back briefly in 2020 and had a couple of different titles in that year because that was the year that Mark Colombo was the offensive line coach and left mid-season, so it was all kinds of fun there. Another debacle we had as the offensive line there. But congratulations to those guys. A championship is a championship. Listen, enjoy it up.
Yeah.
Live it up. You don't get many in life, that's for sure, unless you're Tom Brady. Who's missing a few, I wonder why. Missing a few. So we also we got to talk about the fact that we got some people trash talking some Giants here, guys. Not cool. I think that I get why people wouldn't be extremely high on the Giants. Like, I'm not suggesting that people should be. I'm really not. Like, I don't think people should be as low as some of them are, though. And this guy definitely falls into that category. That's for sure. So, Matt Holder of Bleacher Reports said the Giants have literally the second worst defense in the NFL. That's a little
bold move, Con.
That's beyond bold. That's insanity. I mean, here's the exact quote he gave. He said, personnel-wise, the Giants have a strong defensive line after trading for Brian Burns to go along with Dexter Lawrence and Kayvon Thibodeau. However, the team's secondary has more questions than answers. First off, that's the most cliche line ever. There's more questions than answers.
Can you answer them?
Last year's first-round pick Deonte Banks struggled as a rookie by allowing a 57.6 completion percentage when targeted and posted a 48.6 coverage grade, according to Pro Football Focus. However, Banks projects as New York's top cornerback heading into 2024. Third-year pro Cordell Flott projects to be the other starting outside corner, while rookie third-rounder Drew Phillips is expected to man the nickel back position. Look at this photograph. I have to say it every time. And he said also the Giants lost safety Xavier McKinney in free agency, and another rookie, Tyler Newman, will be likely take McKinney's place in the lineup. That makes for a very young defensive backfield in the Big Apple, so some struggles should be expected this fall. That doesn't sound like the worst.
No.
I'm sorry. That's BS. Second worst defense in the league, he said. And again, I'm not saying we're going to be elite. I'm not saying we're going to be the top half of the league even at that point. But that's a little insulting. Like, you have the best nose tackle in all of football. You have two stud young pass rushers, one of which is thought of as potentially being one of the best in the league if in the right scenario. And people are saying he's now in the right scenario. We'll see. I'm still not 100% convinced that we didn't overpay the hell out of him. But still, very good. Bobby Okereke is a freaking stud at the linebacker position. Absolute stud. I don't see how you can look at this team and say this is the second worst defense in the entire league. Unless you're looking for clickbait or you just hate the Giants. I don't know which one it is.
Could be both.
Only Matt Holder, a Bleacher Report, knows because he apparently hates us. You know, there's a lot of questions. I get it. You know, and you got to question what's Shane Bowen going to be as a defensive coordinator? What are all these young players in the secondary going to do? But he seems way overly focused on that secondary. There's three parts of a defense. There's the secondary, the linebackers, and the line. He's just focusing on one of the three, while the other two are in really good shape. So, you know, a great pass rush is going to help them. It's going to help them.
I was about to say, it's going to help.
And you got to hope it is great. We'll see what happens when you get these guys together. But also to sit there and say that all these players are going to struggle is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, you say one of these guys is going to struggle. Yeah, if you say one or two of these guys, yeah, we get it. We say every single one of them.
Yeah, like that's what he's acting like they're rookies or young players, so they're going to struggle automatically. Not every one of them does. Some of them just go and do their thing, and some of them just stink it up so bad you pull them. I mean, there are all these options that are available, but what about the second worst? Are you freaking kidding me? That's insanity, guys. That's absolutely insanity. You know, he should just admit he just doesn't like the Giants and move on. So here's one group that typically does like the Giants, but not in this case here, apparently. And that's PFF, who ranked John Michael Schmitz one of the worst centers in the NFL. And that's a little harsh, I think, too, as well. Like, I get it. He didn't have a great year last year. I'm not suggesting otherwise, but that's a little harsh. Their quote was, they said, Schmitz struggled as Giants starting center in his rookie 2023 season, earning the lowest overall grade at the position, as well as worst pass blocking grade. The environment around him wasn't ideal, and the Giants will hope that their second-round pick could improve in year two. It's kind of like you're just blowing over the fact that he had poop around him. He was surrounded by poop. Yeah.
So much poop.
And the fact that he was better until he got injured, and then just played the rest of the year injured. Like, we're just ignoring that?
Pretty much.
I'm sorry. Like, you got a guy who was considered the best center in that draft. And because he had one bad year in which he had injuries and was surrounded by a horrible offensive line, you're just going to toss him in the trash like it didn't matter. That matters, guys. That's part of the equation. That's absolutely ridiculous to sit there and say he's like one of the worst in the league. Now, you can say he's a big question mark. That's fair. That's 100% fair to say. But to say he's one of the worst in the league, to me, is a little crazy. I mean, again, you got to grade him as an incomplete to a certain degree. So we'll see what happens. But I'm still expecting him to be a good player. I really am. And he's going to have 2 new guards
Yeah.
probably next to him this year. Hopefully these guys stay healthy. John Runyan is one of the best pass blocking guards in the NFL. So that's going to help him.
Big
We've learned
upgrade.
a lot from him. So, like I said, I'm not as down on the offensive line as other people are necessarily. I think it's a question mark still. But
I'm not going to say
year,
they're going to be the best, but you got to look at it. Like, we go to like the low average. It's a big improvement.
Yeah, I mean, last year we kind of expected poop. We said it all hinges on on Evan Neal at that point. We said that. We said as Evan Neal goes, the line will go. Well, we all know how Evan Neal went, and the line went that way. So let's get out of these haters, though. Let's talk about some positive here, because there was one man who did speak positively about us, and that's Connor Orr of SI. Who lists us as a team he expects to see an improvement out of this year, which is always nice to see. We like improvement. He said Brian Burns changes the calculus of this defense, and I like the combination of Dable and Drew Lock, and I'm curious to see if it ends up bearing some Geno Smithian fruit for the Giants. First of all, Geno Smithian? I never thought that used in a sense. He says, while I wasn't sold on Malik Neighbors as the best available wide receiver at that point, I think this team can win 8 to 10 games this year despite not having what one would call a transformative offseason. The Giants are still low on weapons, but their offensive line will develop and their defense is seriously formidable. Interesting. Somebody else said it was the second worst in the league a minute ago. Though I would have liked to seen a repair in the Wink Martindale Brian Dable relationship to the point where Martindale could have gotten to use Burns. Got some thoughts on that one. First off, I like the optimism. I'm going to say it that way again. I like the optimism, but some of the statements he said are just flat out wrong in that. And I hate to correct somebody who's actually speaking nicely of us. Not a lot of people talk nicely of us. There's some not so true things that he said there.
Yeah.
He seemed to think there's still a competition between Jones and Locke. Jones is a starter, guys. Get over it. Get over it. It's done. Drew Lock is not that good.
Well, they're trying to sell articles. They're trying to sell.
Oh, I get it. And again, the best, the fan favorite, whenever you have a bad starting quarterback, is always the backup.
Of course.
Or
August third string.
It kind of reminds me of when Dave Brown got yanked from the Giants and what's his name? Danny Cannell came in to be the starter. Remember Danny Cannell? Like he was never going to be a good player. He was never a good quarterback. He just was better than Dave Brown.
That's not saying much.
So, he has said that they lack weapons. And if Neighbors is who we think he is, and again, he's a rookie, we'll find out. And if Robinson continues to develop, weapons are there, guys. The weapons are there. Like, I'm sorry, this is the transformed wide receiver room we have. Devin Singletary may not be Saquon, but he's still a solid running back. The weapons are there. I'm not at all concerned about that. The only thing I'm concerned about is the guy under center and the people in front of him. If you catch my drift. That's what the concerns are. He also said he seemed to think that Brian Burns would have shined under Wink when pass rushers historically underperformed under Wink Martindale. Don't forget Kayvon Thibodeau. We talked about during the season. We're pretty sure he broke the record for most sacks in a Wink Martindale defense. Like, you had guys like Matt Judon go to the Patriots and become elite pass rushers. Edge was not a position where you were excelled at and got double-digit sacks on a regular basis in Wink's defense. So I don't know why they think that Brian Burns would have excelled in this kind of system. Brian Burns, by all accounts, if you listen to Panthers fans and guys who watch those games on a regular basis, and we did a lot of homework when we traded for him to find out things about him. They said that one of the issues with Brian Burns was they kept dropping him back into coverage. That doesn't really help you get a lot of sacks. So why would you think he would excel if given a similar role in Wink's defense? Because that Wink would have done. He would have put him in coverage.
100%.
That's what Wink did. He didn't want the edge rushers to be the blitzers. Everybody expected that. He wanted the corner to come out. He wanted the safety to come up. He wanted Bobby Okereke to go up. Like, that's what he wanted. It's a different defense, guys. It's a different defense. So I don't know why they thought that. But again, I don't want to blast the guy too much. I'm just glad to hear something optimistic about the Giants.
Yeah, thanks.
Wow. It's been a while.
Yeah.
So. All righty, guys. Now, we had a segment we did when Darren Waller first got divorced. We made a video for it. I never thought I'd break that video out again, but I left it on here. And guess what, guys? It's time for a little gossip kind of time within Giants news here. Yes, it's time for some TMZ style celebrity news here.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I'll wait for this the whole time.
Well, you're waiting for the one after this. Let's be honest.
Yes.
Yes, that's what you're waiting for. Look at him pumped up. He's all excited. It's like he was on somebody's website or something. Jason Sehorn first. We got to talk about him there because not only him specifically, but his daughter. His daughter got arrested here. Avery Sehorn, who is 18 years old, was arrested in Charlotte. Yes, that's Charlotte, North Carolina. Charged with felony burglary and larceny. She's one of 3 daughters from his marriage to actress Angie Harmon. People remember him always and her because he proposed to her. Was it on Jay Leno or something like that? Remember, she was on one of the late shows, and he just popped out randomly and proposed right in front of the whole audience.
Yeah, it's probably Leno.
I want to say it was Letterman or Leno at that point.
Yeah.
It was those two guys.
But that's also the time.
I want to say it was Leno at that point. But anyway, Avery was accused of going into the World Night Club and stealing 6 bottles of liquor worth $500. The club owner says that she, along with 2 17-year-old boys, broke in through a back door, hid behind the bar, and drank the liquor. First off, I'm curious what kind of bottles this is. Are they charging the bar prices of this is how much I would have made on this bottle if I sold shots of it in the bar? Or were these really, really good bottles of liquor? I'm curious.
Or bottle service is what they're going to charge.
Yeah. VIP table behind the bar.
Yeah.
But I got to say, guys, and I'm not the one to saying spoiled kids rotten and blah, blah, blah. That's not me. I'm old enough now to complain about back in my day and that kind of stuff. But if you want to be honest about it, back in my day, we did stupid stuff when we were 18 years old.
Yeah.
We did really stupid stuff.
You did a lot of stupid stuff.
And stuff like this, I feel like this is a scenario where the club owner could have just called up Angie Harmon, because I believe that's who she lives. I don't think she lives with Jason. I think she lives with, because Angie and Jason have separated. I think they're fully on divorce at this point. Could have called her up. Probably didn't know who, Avery was, but could have said, "Hey, let's call your parents." At that point, that's what you could have done, and said, "Okay, they drank this thing. This is what I need money wise to recover the liquor at that point, and I don't want to ever see them here again." We all did stupid things. And I guarantee you, someone is going to watch this go, "Oh, I wouldn't have done something like that." 18. Shut up. If you do stuff like this when you're 18, you probably weren't fun. I'm sorry. We all did stupid stuff at 18.
I mean, it was normally drinking in the woods.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. Back then, it was house parties. We had the one person, 21, who bought the alcohol every time, and we just get drunk in people's apartments and stuff like that. I mean, that's what we did. People did stupid things at 18. You did irresponsible things at 18. You're 18. She's a kid. So I just hope that this isn't something that affects her record, affects she just graduated high school. I'm sure she was trying to get into college. Imagine a college getting news of this when you're supposed to be going there in September. That's not going to help her in life.
No.
She's 18. Cut her a break. It's ridiculous. Absolute. It's $500. It's not like she went in there and shot up the place. She just had shots in the place.
Yeah. Wrong kind of shooting.
Yeah. I said, again, I'm probably going to get accused by somebody of being too easy on people. But if I had an 18-year-old, I would hope, first off, I'd hope they not be dumb enough to get caught. Why would you drink behind the bar? You're going to get caught. Dash in, take the bottles, and go. That's why you carry the big purse. But like,
Get a couple bottles in there.
but I would hope that the business owner would call up, and just do something like that. She's 18, 17-year-olds with her. Maybe it's partially on you for not having your building secured. Maybe that's part of the
high-tech.
CFO.
I think you got high-tech security, but an 18-year-old and 217s busted in.
Seriously. I mean, I know the kids are usually best in technology, but still, like, this isn't a cell phone they're operating here. I'm just saying, I feel like I'm kind of being facetious when I say the business owner is somewhat responsible here. I just feel like you don't do something like that could potentially stick with the record forever and press charges and do all that kind of stuff. You handle adults. Because that's part of what you're trying to teach these kids is handling things as adults. This is wrong. This is how much I'm owed. Let's call the person who's now responsible for it because you're probably too young to pay this.
Yeah.
You move on. Maybe you trespass them instead. That would no, but seriously, like if you want to
serious.
If you trespass them, that would have been a reasonable thing. But to give somebody a felony that could potentially go with her the rest of her life, that's stupid. That's stupid. I'm sorry.
It's an 18-year-old.
Exactly. We all do stupid stuff then. All right.
Yeah.
Let's get into the really stupid stuff news.
Oh, yeah.
Rob and I had to. He's all excited. Nice.
Oh, yeah.
So this isn't even Giants news, but we had to share this. It's an NFC East news. So we're sneaking it into the show. And that's the fact that we have a rumor here with the video and everything.
I was about to say
that a certain Eagles linebacker may have run out on a bill from an OnlyFans model. Now,
allegedly.
I said may have. I'm not going to accuse them flat out because I don't want to get sued. Let's talk a little bit about it here. So it's linebacker Terrell Lewis is who's getting accused by OnlyFans model Mia Mercy, which I got to be honest, I don't know if she's big on OnlyFans or something like that. I'm married, and I'm also too cheap to pay for porn. So,
yeah, listen, you don't buy it if you can get it for free. Don't buy the cow and you get milk for free.
Exactly. Like I'll never understand the OnlyFans thing unless you're like somebody obsessed with a certain celebrity. I don't mean like derangedly obsessed.
Yeah,
but like if you're like, oh, so and so's on there, I've always been curious. Like, okay, like whatever. That's weird, but I'm not gonna like chastise you like you're the worst person in the world for it. Like, they're offering it. But to spend a lot of money on some random girl that you don't even know just to see the occasional nude picture, that's just weird to me. That's weird. I'll never get that. Maybe it's because it's not something that was there when I was young.
Because you still go to the store and buy magazines. Hopefully they get sticky.
Well, I have to free them of their cover that hides everything. But yeah, I mean, so anyway, she accused him of skipping out of the bill. She posted a video of, I assume it's herself, running down a hallway, accusing a man she says is Lewis. The post says, "We've got a runner, ladies and gentlemen. Terrell Lewis, ladies and gents." And the video, like I said, shows somebody with a cell phone taking the video and a woman literally running down after the man in the hallway naked.
Yep, butt-ass naked.
Now, I would say, as you say, butt-ass naked, based on the tattoos and the pictures I've now seen online of her trying to do research for this segment.
Yes. It's a good thing you did your research.
Based on the tattoos, that it is her. But the guy is wearing sweats and a hoodie and everything like that, and I can't sit there and say that's him. So
no.
That's why we're not flat out accusing at that point. For all we know, she's lying, trying to extort money out of the guy. Well, we don't know. I'm not going to get that much involved in that stuff. Now, what's also interesting is if you look at the way the articles are written, some people are saying she's an OnlyFans model, which is what we're saying because that's the only thing we know is legitimately true. Other people are saying she's an escort. Other people are saying she's flat out a prostitute. We don't know what was going on. So all we can tell you is she was naked. He was clothed in the video. So for all I know, it was a private lap dance room or something like that in the hotel. I don't know.
I mean, it is sweatpants he was wearing. Also,
well, you always wear sweatpants for lap dance. It provides more room and comfort for expanding venues.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
But yeah, like I said, I don't know. It's interesting though because he's on blast big time. So for those who don't know who he is, by the way, because he's not a household name in the NFL by any means, 25-year-old, former third-round pick out of Alabama by the Rams. Since then, he's also played for the Bears, Saints, and now the Eagles. He signed a reserve future contract with the Eagles for the year. For his career, he's appeared in 30 games, had 7 starts, 40 tackles, 6 sacks, and 1 interceptions, all while playing with the Rams. Now, what's really crazy is since the incident broke, Lewis has made all of his social media pages private. What's even crazier is the Eagles have not commented. And that's like, can you imagine a scenario where an NFL team has to respond to a guy potentially walking out on someone who is being called by other people a prostitute? Like, I don't know. Again, I don't know what she was in the room doing. I'm not saying she's a hooker. I'm just saying.
Talk about that in
some
depth.
people are calling her that. And if that's what the scenario was, can you imagine the Philadelphia Eagles having to release a statement about one of their players walking out and then being videotaped doing a dine and dash? Like, I don't know what you call it, the version of a dine and dash with the prostitute, but
yeah.
And again, even if she didn't do that, it was just a lap dance at that point, and it was within the realm of legalities. I don't even know what is legal or not legal to do with that. So I really don't. Not a legal expert.
I assume it's Pennsylvania, so.
Well, I mean, again, I don't even know that part. I don't know if it's Pennsylvania, but again, I don't know what the rules are legally on paying a woman to give you a lap dance in a private hotel room like that. I don't. She can get in trouble this whole thing. That'd be the interesting part.
That's funny because I mean she's putting him on blast. Like she's going out to like her Twitter and whatever, saying like, "Oh, this is what I did to him," and he was perfect.
Oh, did she put that? That's what she did to him, and I missed that. Did we get actual?
Oh, it was part of. It was part of the thing I sent you.
Listen, I was at work. I didn't get to see the whole thing. I saw the video. I saw who she was. I did a little research there, but yeah, the whole thing is crazy, and I
yes. This is what she put in Twitter.
Okay, go for it.
Because she tagged the Eagles, the NFL, and its coaches. Because we've got a runner, ladies and gentlemen, at Real 24. Run me my MFing money at Eagles, at NFL on Fox, at Mike Clay NFL, at Coach Nuts, at Coach Strickland, at Coach Six, at Coach K McDonald, and Coach E. Dickerson.
This whole scenario.
He had a hairy, and I'm going to read this. So,
yeah, let's
read this. What she said.
Let's keep it somewhat family friendly.
I'm gonna substitute some words, like if there's little kids around here. I put his hairy bass toot up in the air and put my finger inside his bass hole.
Whoa!
And it felt loose. How dare you run off on me?
And it felt
you
loose.
told me you loved.
Is that what she said? Oh my god!
Yeah.
This scenario gets crazy.
You told me you loved. You loved when I figured your hairy bass hole at Real 24.
Oh my god. We're good. Okay. We should probably give a warning on this episode. God dang.
Yeah.
But yeah, like So here's the crazy part now. Now that because I didn't see that part of that before. So she's admitted to being, and again, I don't know if there's a different terminology used for this, but she did a sexual act on him for money.
Well, listen, he could have bought the Rock and got the beer for free.
No.
Remember that old stadium thing. But
what I'm just saying is she basically just put herself on blast for doing sexual acts on somebody for money. That's stupid. This whole scenario is crazy.
Yep.
Guys, we will keep you posted as more information comes in. Because we are entertained to no end on this, okay? And I apologize if you had any kids in the car, if you're on the audio version or something, or anybody got any issues with this. I didn't know Rob was about to go into that much detail.
I forgot how detailed it was.
Yes, it's very detailed. There's definitely tail involved. But yeah. So, yeah, guys, on that note, we'll end the episode here. So we'll be back again for you guys Wednesday night and Thursday night. Those 2 episodes will be pre-recorded for you guys. I'll be in Jersey for the for about a week there as my nephew's graduating high school. So I'll be flying in Wednesday and Thursday's his graduation. So won't be able to be on the show live. So we got it all pre-recorded, ready to go for you guys, though. So as always, we will have you 3 episodes a week, as promised, as always. No exceptions, no time off, no rest for the wicked. We pay our bills, unlike some Philadelphia people. I can't believe this. Anyway, yeah. So we will see you guys again in a way Wednesday and Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be back Monday for the next live episode as well, guys. Appreciate you guys listening. As always, we are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter /Twitch, X, and of course,
Drew's LinkedIn.
Oh yes, my LinkedIn profile.
Oh yeah.
I just realized I said Twitter /Twix. No,
Yeah.
Twitch. Twitter /X and Twitch. They're separate things. Too many damn names. Anyway, and of course, as always, we're live or not live. We're pre-recorded and going on the audio version the next day. Sheesh, I need some sleep. On Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all the big ones there. So if you haven't already, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share button there. Appreciate you guys always for listening in. Share it with a friend. Let them know what you think of it at that point and see if it intrigues them. Just fair warning, they have children apparently based on some topics we have occasionally. And guys, we appreciate you guys listening in as always. And as always, Giant fans.
Go G-Man!
Go G-Man!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.